Data is like the oil. It's so precious. You should not fear AI. You should fear person who can use AI. AI will be able to analyze and you should be able to then interpret. Britannica is gone.
Is gone, right?
This generation is also, I would say, is very smart.
People coming from ACCA, they can think critically. So the attitude is the most important. You should always do what you like.
They need to give their best. That is the message we always give.
Joining me today is Vineet and Mona Dhawan, whose son Chaitanya is in his second year of BCom, also simultaneously working towards ACCA. So if the tables were turned and you were starting your career today, what would you do differently?
I would do the accounts again, commerce again, but with quite a bit of technology, data analytics, because what I see, data is like the oil. It's so precious, and companies, my company also, any company willing to pay more for a person who can rightly analyze the data, use the data, interpret the data.
I know that you're in that space as well. Did he come in and say, Dad, I want to do what you're doing? Or did he come in and say, I want to do ACCA? How did that conversation go?
So earlier, if you see job availability, one is doing nothing and doing business. That's what we'll do business. Medical, engineering, and accounting. So in advisory, I saw and I experienced that the people coming from ACCA has got, they can think critically or they can think laterally. Okay, ACCA is one thing is there that it gives you that lateral thinking. So that was the reason.
Do you find that your son is self-motivated, or do you have to like prod and say, no, get up, you have an exam? Are you that parent?
When it comes to writing exams is where he needs a little push. So that is where we both are, a little more involved. This generation is also, I would say, is very smart.
How so?
They balance their stuff. They know that something which is on priority, they will definitely do that. So that is something I see, because when I was growing up, I think what you're saying applied a lot more, where no television and no music and everybody needs to be quiet. But now there's been a slight change where, of course, we are there to see that he's studying, but not really that much,
I believe there is good thing about ACCA is, which is unlike the other course, is it's more practical. So ACCA is more towards skilling. Their course content about international financial reporting standard is much better than the other courses. That is because IFRS as such is the way it is being accepted in other countries.
The interesting thing about ACCA is they're already adding to the course an understanding of how tech and AI will play a larger role in this sector.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was mentioning to you earlier before this that a very renowned professor from Harvard, he did say that a lot of people from prestigious colleges like Harvard, Stanford, finding very difficult to get jobs. So youths ask that if entry level finding it difficult, how will they become middle management?
Yes, where will the middle management come from?
And definitely there are no lateral hiring, less lateral hiring. So it's become very difficult. One thing, again, I did say earlier, the NVIDIA Jensen Huang had stated that you should not fear AI, you should fear a person who can use AI. Will become way of life. I'm not saying that's totally going to replace humans, but I believe in India anyway it's going to be slow.
Skilling will have to keep up.
AI will be able to analyze and you should be able to then interpret. So that is very important. When you're looking at something, be a risk consultant, be a business consultant, be a deal advisory, there is some bit of interpretation, there is some bit of human element involved. AI will not be able to do it. AI will just give you a black and white answer. But there are certain restrictions, say for example for us professionals, and we really live by that. Not everything can be put on, say, a chat GPT or let's say Copilot. So there are certain data privacy rules applicable. So I believe it's evolving.
That's an interesting thing, because actually in our generation perhaps we've seen the most changes from using actual physical encyclopedias in the library to do our projects to then having Google search.
Britannica is gone.
It's gone, right?
Britannica
those
is
of us who
gone.
still have those books. Yeah, dictionaries.
Dictionaries.
So this has evolved. As a parent and also as an employer and someone who recruits on a regular basis, but what will you look for in the individual in terms of, in terms of characteristics, in terms of that X factor that they can bring?
Whenever it comes to me, the first thing for me is to see the attitude. I always try to give him out of syllabus questions. So the attitude is the most important. The other one, I always put very emphasis on the lateral thinking. Because if in this attitude and lateral thinking is not there, the rest, everything can be trained. These two, if us not there, it would be very difficult for me to take somebody.
As a professionals, both of you, how important is it for you that your child is also grounded in terms of what is ethical in the workplace?
Zero tolerance, because anything, especially the big four, and amount of background verification, for it's a lot of scrutiny, including whatever I invest, whatever I say in public.
I think as parents it is very important to inculcate the right values. Of course it starts very early, right from, I would say, pre-primary or those very critical early years, but it continues all through. So as they are growing, knowing the exposure they have right now, so counseling them as they are growing up, as they are exploring the world around them.
How much of a focus do you have on mental health right now?
So I think as a family, so when you sit with them, you go out with them, you go for a dinner or you go for an outing, you go for a holiday. So those are informal situations where you do. Plus, I think we also at times involve our older one. So we're knowing that brothers do have that bonding. So it's more like a discussion. So we try to bring some topics in a very informal way. So that helps.
If you're loving something, what you're doing, you will not have any mental issues. But you try to force somebody to keep on doing something because he has got some limitation, or not limitation, or some compulsion. So I think mental health is very important within the firm which I am in. That is number one priority, and there are quite a bit of counseling sessions to the staff as well as with the seniors. How do you deal with these situations?
When you look at young people in your office, you feel that, okay, they don't have the kind of drive that I used to when I started my career. Is that something that you're looking at instilling in your sons? Or is it just a different generation?
I don't believe in putting to get the output 70 hours. Anyway, I believe you need to let them have their space, and you should always do what you like. There's a very thin line between passion and stress. If they're stressful on working hard on a weekend, that means they're not passionate.
Mona, if there was one thing that you would want your sons to always remember?
So I really feel honestly sharing how they are feeling. At times, of course, everybody goes through lows and highs, but I really feel sharing how they are feeling, or if they need any kind of support. So having that open conversation and trusting and believing in them.
Very important is the ethics and integrity, in a sense. That's something which is, I believe, 30 to 40% characteristic what any employee is going to look at. Famous Elon Musk did say about, you can teach them accounts, you can teach them even rocket science, but you can't teach them being ethical, good attitude.
So, you all don't know, but we have a surprise video that your son has recorded for you that we're going to play for you now.
I just want to take this time out to say a big thank you to my parents for supporting me through my ongoing ACCA journey. I still remember the first time I was stressed before a big exam. They gave me a pep talk and told me it's all going to be fine. That's what kept me going through that exam. And later on, they surprised me with my favorite food from my favorite restaurant to kind of keep the nerves down. And ever since, now every time I'm stressed before a tough exam or a big exam, either my mom makes me something which I really like, or they order me something from one of my favorite places. This is a moment that has stuck with me throughout, and that's why I want to thank my parents.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What was that incident with the nervousness about a big exam? What happened there?
So I think when he went for the entrance, I assume that's what he's talking of.
So it was
So it
long.
was a long day. I think we left home at 6 in the morning. We were back at 6. So this child is a little he's not very vocal basically.
So before the second exam, we took him to his favorite restaurant.
Because we had 4 hours.
You had a
gap in
4-hour
between.
gap in between.
Yeah.
And you feel that he's not vocal, so he doesn't express
He
when
doesn't
he's under
express
pressure.
much, but food is something, he's a foodie, so that's how we keep him happy.
So what is the routine now before a big exam at home? He said you always make him something.
So morning, just a sandwich or something, what he likes.
I just want him to at least have
Something before.
eat something which is going to 3 hours of exam.
So between the two of you, who's the one focused more on results? I think I know.
But am I looking for that? No. But what I'm looking at is your effort should be such that you have tried, and very important is you do not repeat the same mistake the next time. And if you are learning from your previous mistake, and then I'm okay with that, seriously.
I think they need to give their best. That is the message we always give. So we don't have that expectation that you have to have 90%. But yeah, of course, grades are important as well. Do your best. That's the message that goes.
What is your superpower as a parent?
Okay. I think being around and comforting them, that I'm always there for you. And they also know that. So
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing for a young person to know.
Being compassionate and being able to understand what they are going through, that is, I think, one of the biggest, and that's what they're looking at.
If I were to ask you to imagine Chaitanya 10 years from now, when he's done with his studies and he's working, how do you imagine his life to be? What's your ambition for him?
What I want to see him is whatever he does, ACCA, and some technology, so he should be knowledgeable. And if I were to visualize for 10 years, he's a successful in whatever he's doing. I mean, it's not only in material world, but he should be happy.
yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I think happiness is something I hold very high. So what you're doing should make you happy. Of course, you need to be earning as well, but something you're passionate about, you're happy to do, that is the mantra.
All right, I want to thank both of you for spending time with me and answering all of our questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.